see.
I gotta start recording at some point, so it might as well be now.
Yeah. All right.
So as soon as I started recording, everybody stopped talking about shows.
Well, I'm kind of talked out now. As I started to say, I'm doing a show this weekend in Lenox, Massachusetts. It's called the Art Walk, and it's run by Sue Brown Gordon. And I believe she did it last year. There's 2 shows, one in the spring, one in the fall. So all I know is that there's just a few artists there, but I think the locality for customers is very good up in that section.
How do you find them as promoters?
I have no complaints. I've done all their shows. I've done Norwalk, Stamford, Weston last year. Yeah, both Norwalk shows. And they have their own clientele that comes through. You have to be aware of what you're bringing into the show and who's coming to the show. So just because it's an art show in Connecticut doesn't mean it's going to work.
Yeah, I used to do the Norwalk Oyster Festival.
Which they have nothing to do. Yeah, I used to do that.
No,
too.
I know. And they did the show in downtown Norwalk.
Yeah, they did it on the garbage dump is what that was. That's a level field. And when it rained, it became a sponge. And if it's dry, it's a dust bowl. I did that show for 5 years, and always a very good show for me. But I gave it up the year that there were heavy rains, and they did not address our concerns in our tents whatsoever. We had water up to our ankles in the tents. And they went ahead and had this. They went ahead and had the show anyway, because it's basically a beer and music festival, and the artists were just background noise.
Right. I remember Boston Mills during the mudslide days, where it rained and the mud would come down the ski slope into the show. And the tents, it just wiped out anything that was on the ground in the tents.
Well, the one year they had a flood, and Carolyn was there. A log was the main culprit for blocking the water from going under the bridge, and it just filled up like a lake very fast within about 10 minutes. And that happened about 10 years ago. I never really had an issue with the mud, because I might have been in the outside tent area and I never saw it. But I do remember when it rained, it was like a small brook coming through the whole show. It would come right off that hill. It would definitely get your feet wet.
Well, maybe the construction will fix that. They might even have good drainage now, right?
I would expect no. I would say the whole focus of that place is on the ski slope. It's not on the 2 weekend art shows, weekends of the art show. So
right.
You take your chances when you go there that it could be, one year we had a tornado warning. We all ran right into the buildings. So if you do shows in Florida, and we had a show called in Naples Invitational on the second day, as well as other shows, because of tornadoes. It did come through off the Gulf Coast. And it was a good call. There was a bunch of shows that weekend, probably 5. Anyway, if you're doing shows and are exposed to the Florida weather, you can take anything. Those Florida downpours, like the downpour in Westport was very heavy. Where I was on the street, we basically had a brook coming through my tent. But I was prepared for that because I was there last year. We had 3.5 inches of rain in 2 days.
That doesn't sound like fun at all.
Well, it's how you end the card game at the end of the show to, you know, to see if it's worth it or not.
Teresa, are you on your iPad?
Yes,
Okay.
it was good to hear from you. Hopefully we'll be able to make a connection and make things go even better than they were now that I have my desktop back again.
The guy who runs Indie Made is, I like him.
Good. Good. That makes me feel a little better.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice to know that they're trying to do something more proactive with their web program.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see what the new system looks like. Hi, Bonnie.
So I'm currently in a library show in a town north of here for 2 months. And when that show is over at the end of this month, it goes into another library next town over for 2 months. And then when that show comes down, it goes into another local library for November, December. So I'm trying that out to see if that will work for me. But it's paintings that I have in the studio that I wouldn't be marketing anyway. So they're specifically of Connecticut, with Connecticut landscapes. So I tested it last year at a library in Washington, the town of Washington, and that was a 1-month show. And I sold at the couple days before the show ended to somebody from New York City. They bought 3 of the paintings, so that was really worth the effort.
Good. There's Bonnie. And Oscar.
Hey, how you doing? I just waiting for my next job.
Yes. Hey, Larry. Hey, Frank. Hey,
Barry.
Hey, Barry.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Everyone. For the record, I'm driving. I just waiting for my next job.
Dennis, can you see us?
Well, I don't have you on visual.
Okay.
I'm just on audio.
Okay.
I have a bad hair day today.
Oh, I can beat you.
No, you can't.
Oh, I
I'm
like
gonna-
your
yeah, Bonnie, that's a cute hairstyle with the.
My physical therapist walked in today and he had the same hairstyle.
Alfalfa.
Is that what it is? I call it my little mohawk.
Oh,
Bonnie, I love it.
Thank you. I have to say, I am kind of enjoying it.
that's
Yeah.
good.
It's Queen Erika.
Oh, geez.
Hey Shirley, we haven't seen you for a while. How are you?
Pretty good.
And aren't you getting ready for a big show? Is it this weekend? No,
It
next
was last,
weekend.
it was last weekend.
Muskegon was last weekend?
Yeah.
No, Midland was last weekend.
Oh, I
Who?
know.
Midland?
I guess I didn't realize that you were doing it. How was it?
It was okay. It rained on Sunday, which typically you do very little when it rains. So,
Yeah,
but Saturday was great.
good.
So
Yeah, isn't Muskegon July 4th?
Muskegon is July 4th, but I decided not to do Muskegon because, I was on a waiting list. So I decided to do one that's closer to home that I've done in the past. Even though I did finally get into Muskegon. But I
Yeah.
figured, hey, with gas prices, I'd rather drive an hour to a show than 3 hours to a show.
Yeah,
And do a hotel where the hour I don't have to do a hotel. But
So
I will
what-
be, 4th of July, I'll just be in the same area. I'll be in South Haven. So it's
Oh, okay.
close.
oh,
Yeah, I used to do Muskegon and then pack up Saturday night and go to South Haven when it was one day.
Yeah, now it's 2 days and you can't do them both. You used to, but now you can't.
Right.
I did South Haven. You know, my biggest memory of it is the blueberry pancakes. I was doing it when it was, I think it was just one day.
Yes,
Yeah.
one day.
And that morning they had a blueberry pancake breakfast. Since they're kind of the blueberry capital.
Right. And it's funny that you get in like every 3 years. It's like, who knows?
Do they
Really?
still let you park your right behind your booth?
It's in the park, not right behind your booth, but yeah, in the park.
No, I used to park
Oh.
right behind my booth in the park.
Me too.
That was the Tulip Festival, which
No,
was,
no, South
No.
Haven, July 4th show.
yeah,
When it was one day, you could park right behind your booth.
yeah, I remember doing that.
Heaven.
It was nice. My
Yeah.
husband would just sleep in the car.
Yep.
So,
I need lipstick.
You don't. You look
Now, you
fine.
need to
Just-
color your
Yeah,
hair to
really.
match your glasses.
Yeah.
Forget it.
So Katie, you have been posting pictures of your garden. You are muted. Unmute, unmute.
This was from a few weeks ago.
Well, the pictures you've been posting have been great.
Oh, thank you.
That is spectacular.
Epiphyllum, also known as orchid cactus.
I don't know that one, but I would like to.
Well,
Very-
I could probably ship you cuttings and you could start them if you have probably a greenhouse.
Well, I'm in Michigan.
You
So
have greenhouse.
they probably though wouldn't like Michigan.
Other than that, yeah, people do grow. There's a big club in Germany, evidently, but they're indoors there.
Yeah.
Conservatories, I guess.
So Bonnie, do you watch Top Chef? And Michigander was in the finals of Top Chef.
Yes. Yeah, I wasn't wild about her.
Okay.
I don't know if she didn't smile enough, which sounds terrible, but she just wasn't
Personable.
chipper.
But she seems to be a fabulous cook.
Oh, yes. But they all seem to be on that.
Well,
Hey, not-
true.
spoilers, guys, I haven't caught up yet.
Okay.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. Well,
They're
We
all
won't
fabulous
tell you.
cooks, Queen Erica.
Queen Elf,
Queen Elf.
I like that. So, anybody else done a show?
I
Yeah, I
think
did I did Westport a couple of weeks ago.
And
It was I did well, or as I like to say, I did nearly good. Some people did extremely well, and some people zeroed. But it was very well attended both days. And we had our regular rainstorm for 2 hours on Sunday, but people came right back out after the rain stopped. It was a very, very heavy downpour, like one of those Florida downpours. But we knew it was coming, so everyone was prepared. No one lost any tents. Had a little bit of a wind. I was telling Larry that it's close to $500 to do the show. And people do come up from Florida to do it. And then go back again. So it's, with their double booths. So it can be good. I find that the quality wasn't as good as it has been. They're letting in just lesser quality. Probably because they're not getting, the old timers aren't coming back. They're moving on, retiring.
You ever do Gracie Square?
No, I was never interested in going into the city because I went to school there, and I had art directors in New York, and I had my fill of it. So I don't need to go to New York. So no, I don't do Gracie Square.
Because that's the only show in Manhattan where they actually close the streets and let you just park there.
Yeah, that's what I hear. You can even sleep in your car right there,
Right.
behind the booth. I have a couple of friends that do the Greenwich Village one still. That's because they have a place to stay in the village. They don't, otherwise it would be kind of cost prohibitive. But I'm fairly close to New York. I'm only 70 miles away.
Barry, what do you have coming up?
Des Moines. In 2 weeks from this next weekend, yeah.
Yeah.
2.5 weeks.
You ready?
Half ready.
Half ready? You be
Are
slacking.
you kidding? Ask me the day before.
Oh, come on.
Come on, I got all 2 weeks. I had a great month. I just did galleries. Boy, I wish it was the old days where I could have multiple galleries. Then I wouldn't have to go anywhere.
That happens.
But and that's why I'm not I'm not, otherwise I'd be ready. I'd be totally ready. But I sold a lot of pieces to 2 galleries. Sold, not commission, not consignment.
That's good.
It was great.
Excellent.
I don't do, I guess it's based on, doing ACC years ago. And, what we did, they always paid, they paid for the work. So I've never had a good consignment experience. I think I've had one my whole life. So I don't do that. Besides, they need to make a commitment. If they're going to carry your work, they should take the risk. They should, because there's no incentive for them to sell it. If they buy it, then they have to sell it to make, to exist. So
Yeah.
that's important to me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People say, "Oh no, consignment's much better." No,
it's not.
For 10% difference at best, and then people want consignment for 50-50. That's wholesale.
But that isn't how it works. You have a wholesale price.
Yep.
I sell, I don't think about they can do whatever they want. They can mark it up whatever they want, because like in New York, well, I was connected to a gallery for a number of years. So, and I kind of have a business background, a retail business. So I kind of know about this. I actually did the numbers, and like in New York, it's a 2.8 markup. So if you sell something for for your painters. If you sell something at wholesale for $1,000, they're going to charge 2,800, and their break even might be 2,500 because of all their expenses. So that's kind of how you have to look at it. And it's better
Well-
to sell multiples at your wholesale price than to go to an art fair and sell one. In fact, I maintain that you actually can do better selling wholesale because you need to count labor, your driving, which now is ridiculous. $5 an hour, $5 a gallon in Michigan. It's a plot. It's a
Here.
plot against Michigan.
$5.30 now,
Huh?
Here,
$5.30
Where's that?
in Michigan.
I have,
I would
well, where?
imagine that Katie is envious.
I haven't looked at I'm in Marquette, so
So
What
Barry,
is it in California? $8 a gallon, Katie?
at
$6.25.
Costco, it was $6.04 a gallon for premium, $5.74 for regular.
where's that?
Oh,
San
God.
Diego.
That's not bad.
That's not bad. That's about the same thing that we are in Chicago.
That's not bad. That's horrible. It's horrible everywhere. What do you mean? I gotta,
Well,
I'm
out
gonna
in
drive.
town, it's more. Costco, you sort of prepaid by buying the membership.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So they only have like a 10% markup on it or something. Out in town, it's close to 7 most places.
7. Oh, God.
Okay, back to wholesale versus art fairs. I decided that I was doing 20 shows a year, retail art fairs.
Mhm.
And I decided to pick up some wholesale. I did the wholesale shows, ACC and Rosen, and didn't
Me too.
do a lot of wholesale, but my income went up by 50%.
I
Oh,
know.
cut my shows in half. I only did 10 shows. Income went up by 50%.
I know. And because it isn't just the initial wholesale sale, it's the reorders that,
Yeah.
they're either going to reorder because they sell your work, or they're going to drop you because they don't sell your work.
Exactly.
So,
Just true for all art forms or just certain art mediums?
no, I think it's true all across the board. I think it's true for everything.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you're selling, whether it's blue jeans or jewelry or pottery. The business end of it it's the same.
You mentioned 3Ds. Do you think it also works for two-dimensional work, paintings, graphics, drawing, photography, all of that?
Yep.
Probably, but there's a phenomena these days that I find photographers and painters get way more money per than I get.
Oh,
Pottery's at the bottom of the barrel. Nobody wants to pay for that. But I should be charging double what I charge. But
Well,
I'd be standing there.
with jewelry, I've had people come up and, put their hand up like this and say, well, this doesn't weigh that much. Why does it cost so much? So,
Show 'em.
But do you
There's
find
the
a
Tesla
problem?
answer.
Okay, do you find a problem if they find your work wholesale versus then they find it at retail and not?
They're not going to find it at wholesale. They're selling. They're buying it from a gallery. The gallery is going to have their markup. In many cases, they charge more than you do.
You don't
But-
think with the internet these days that people can find you on the internet and buy from you directly?
Yeah.
well, yeah, but not at wholesale,
No, not at wholesale.
just at retail.
Do you not
My-
understand the concept?
Well, my understanding is that most galleries, at the amount that they charge to sell your work, it's hard to make a profit and survive off of with photography. Or I would think with painting possibly too, unless you're doing reproductions at the rate that you get after they make a sale. Because more galleries are taking 50 and even 60%, which doesn't leave you very much considering your cost is involved in what you keep, not what you make through the gallery.
Well, then you're not pricing it right in the first place.
No, I've worked with galleries for a long time over the years. And for me personally, they've been a total, for the most part, a disaster. You pay the cost to get them to work. The because you're sending flat two-dimensional work, not little boxes of jewelry or boxes of ceramics. And they don't want to pay to ship it back. So you have to get it from them if it doesn't sell. And then if it does sell, unless they understand their client base really well, when they ask you to come on board, you don't make a lot of sales. And I remember Art Business News had an article long ago on this, and they went in about 2008 when things started slowing down. And they said, what do we need to do with the slowing down in the market? And the guy who wrote the editorial said, you're not going to like my answer, but drop 80% or 90% of the artists in your gallery and concentrate on those that connect with your client base, and they will do fine. And I thought that was great advice, because a lot of galleries add work merely to add diversity, not because they really honestly think it will sell.
But you're talking consignment. We are talking wholesale.
Yeah,
There's nothing to ship back to me.
Well, I don't know of any galleries that have ever been willing to say, we'll buy this from you wholesale. What's your wholesale price? Never run into that ever in 20 years.
that doesn't mean it doesn't exist just because you don't see it. That's ridiculous.
Yes.
That's all I do. I would never do consignment for all the reason, for some of the reasons that you're talking about, and 100 more. I mean,
You're
and they're
ceramic.
out there.
You're ceramic, right? You're ceramics.
It
There's
doesn't
difference.
matter.
It could be blue jeans. It doesn't matter. That's what, listen, that's why you get an MBA. That's why there's actually subjects. There's whole libraries on business, and you can get a degree in it. It's same everywhere.
My galleries used to mark up my work. Originally it was 2.3, was kind of the industry norm
2.3
when I was at the height of my wholesale.
Yeah.
But I had galleries, one of my best galleries was on Martha's Vineyard. And I was shocked to find out that they were doing it 3 times.
Yeah.
3.1.
You can't go by that because their expenses could be really high.
Oh yeah. But the nice thing was they were selling it like hotcakes.
And well, that tells you that you could sell your work at their retail in your booth.
Probably.
If she does a show on Martha's Vineyard, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would have a hard time.
You have that clientele for sure, but
listen, let me tell you something. Somebody said they did Midland, Michigan. You think, oh, Midland, Michigan, I better lower my prices. It's down. They have way more money than you would ever think. It's out. The money's there.
It's Dow
everywhere. The money's everywhere.
Yeah.
There is money everywhere, but some places have more than others. Greenwich, Connecticut, Martha's Vineyard, and come to mind.
Well, a friend of mine had a show this past weekend with 2D work and sold 17 grand. Before she went, she marked some of her $28, yeah, wishful thinking, $2,800 pieces. She bumped them up 1,000 to 38.
Yeah, didn't make a difference, huh?
None.
Bonnie, what kind of size are we talking?
She had some big and some little.
I mean, when you say big,
the big ones made the difference.
Were they paint? What was the medium?
Mixed media.
Okay.
So would you tell her to wholesale?
Why not?
Why?
Well, she doesn't have to, and she's not interested in it because she can't keep up now.
Yeah, I think it's,
if she couldn't, if she wasn't selling like that, you bet wholesale that stuff.
So you said she sold that at a wholesale show or at an art show?
At an art show.
Can I ask you what art show, Bonnie?
Rittenhouse.
Oh, that's typical over there.
That's different. That's Center City, Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that my friend Kathleen told me she saw 2 big ones in that show, and she cannot keep up with the small ones that she said for 300. It was a really good show, at least for her. I think that a lot of people was happy, but that's a really good, really good show.
Yeah.
You know, all those condos in those buildings around there, those old buildings, they go for 2 and 3 million. You know, those people, you know, they can afford it.
Yeah.
You know, it's.
I do the crap there with them, and you don't have to discount it. That's so people have money.
Well, I think the spring one, which is, this is still spring, I guess, is only 2D is my understanding. And then
Yeah.
the fall one is craft is.
Craft, like anything, the craft one is the one that I do. So photography, printmaking, jewelry. I don't know if they do ceramics in that.
Yeah, I did it once and I could do it, but I hate driving into any city now, and especially, you know, Center City's old, so the streets are narrow. Parking, you can't get parking, so it costs you. Well, when I did it, it was 35 a day. I would think it's up to 50 or more a day to park.
Last year was
I have a problem with that.
Was $40 a day last time I did it.
40,
so,
yeah.
You know, I'm a Chicago boy, so it's no big deal.
Yeah. You're
Hey,
used to that.
57.
You know, when I did it, it rained for 2 days. So I didn't get the normal, you know, it was one of those weekends. But the people were smart. You know, they were knowledgeable.
Yeah.
I like them, but but hardly anybody showed up.
Where was this?
Rittenhouse.
Rittenhouse.
Oh. Sorry, my computer froze.
The part that I didn't like was that they don't block off the parking, you know, the cars. So there's that. And in Philadelphia, their favorite toy is a horn, their car horn. And, you know, they were lined up at the light, and somebody that was 8 or 10 cars back is beeping their horn because the person in front didn't go through the red light. So there was noise. There was horn, you know, beeping the whole time. I just, you know, and I'm not used to being in the city anymore. So it's like, I don't need that. Oh, but it'd be great to be able to do it again. I mean, you know, if the conditions were better, or if I could live in the city, you know. I have a subject I was thinking about, I wanted to bring up, and I'm going to tell you, none of you are going to like this, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. You okay with that?
Where we got a choice.
Yeah, you do. You do.
Okay, let's mute him.
You could shut me off. Did you mute me yet? Okay.
We'll wait until we hear what the subject is and then decide whether we're gonna abuse you.
Does anybody think about, since there's like 3 a day now, gun, you know, somebody coming to an art fair and shooting it up?
Yep.
People think about that?
You bet.
Constantly, Barry. It's like, you know, it happens. I think about it all the time, and especially when I'm in Chicago, because there's always an idiot around the corner.
Yeah, that's right. I don't mean to laugh, but yeah.
You know,
the place I used to worry about it was Ann Arbor.
It could be any place. It could be,
with
you
the
know,
huge crowds. I know.
I can see that. You know, and though 57th Street this weekend, they have a heavy police on the cover in the area. So it was interesting.
I don't know if you can prevent it.
Well, here's a question.
Yeah.
Because I just did a show last weekend. They had the barricade so no cars can go through. Okay. Except for my street. My street, they could go, well, my street was closed, but the crosswalk or cross street was open. So anybody could go through and take out my entire block. Why have the barriers up for the other streets if you didn't do it to all the streets?
It isn't a car. They're gonna walk in with their
No, they could do it with the car. The car could have easily. It's an intersection and they have to go, they can still drive through the intersection. It's a 4-way stop.
Yeah.
But they had to by law. Well, then you wouldn't have put you wouldn't put booths there then. You could have easily figured out a way to add more booths to them.
Was this Midland?
This was Midland.
I wonder if it was fire department.
Oh, the fire department went through just fine.
No, I mean they could not barricade it due to fire department
It's the
regulations.
way the road was designed. And so I was saying, why add the art fair on that street? You could have moved another side street or put us closer together. I mean, we were still 4 feet between booths. You could have easily, there might have been 20 booths, you know, but it was just weird. You know, every once in a while I would panic at the car. Is it going to stop? Is it going to run? You know, it was just weird. Where all
That
the
makes
other ones had the barricades, which I'm used to barricades.
That makes for a long show if you're aware of.
Yes, it
Yeah.
was. It was
But
interesting.
Are you in the corner?
No, I was in the middle. I was right next to food. You never put clothes next to food.
The worst.
The worst, yes. But, you
Absorbing
know,
the odors from the food.
I was 3 booths down, but there was no booths there. So I was still right next to a booth. And I'm the only clothing. I'm the only clothing they allow in that show.
I heard there were a lot of empty spaces.
There were still a
Well-
lot of empty spaces at this show.
Well, that show is poorly run, considering that years ago it was a good show when they had it at the museum in the back.
Oh, I loved it there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, it's probably the best show I ever did last year.
Really?
That was when they only had 40 vendors.
Of course,
But it
Not
was still-
vendors, not vendors.
Okay,
Artists.
artist.
Thank
You
you.
know, so, and they did 70 artists. That's all they allowed. And I'd say probably 10 didn't show. But it was still phenomenal, still has crowds. I'll still do it because I do very well. So,
yeah, I would do
Yeah,
okay if I did
surprise.
it. And I got friends there. I spent a lot of time in Midland. Well, not a lot of time, but enough time in Midland. But and they got rid of the last director, who was a total idiot. I forgot
this
her
one-
name.
she's last minute. You can't apply to the show until April, which most of the shows you have to apply to by end of February. She doesn't even put it out till April 1st.
Well, I don't know who this director is. It's not
So,
the person who it was before. The one before, if you made a suggestion based on the fact that we've only done hundreds of these, she took it, she was offended by it. So I actually got rejected. She didn't even look at my my images. And since I knew somebody that worked there, you know, he told me what happened, and I demanded my money back, which they did. And she got fired afterwards. Her and her boss both got fired. And they're new people, and they're actually they're redoing the art center. They're put a lot of money into the classes and stuff like that, and that whole center. I don't know if you know, the holiday show is really good. It's one day. You know.
Are you doing it, Barry?
Probably not, but I might. I don't know. You know what? And I have customers that say, "When are you going to come back here? We want to buy more stuff." And that generally get, you know, that is incentive for me to do it. But I don't know. I don't
How
do
far
anything.
away are you?
Well, I'm 6 hours, 5 hours, 5.5 hours.
He lives in the northern Michigan
But that's
hinterlands.
close. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a short drive for
And
him.
I got a place to stay, so you know, I got a good friend, so I could do
well,
it.
they're the
And
cheapest
customers.
hotels.
Hmm?
So Midland has the cheapest hotels.
Yeah, and it's even cheaper if you go little out of town, you know,
Yeah.
on
I think I'm
10.
even going to go even more into town. I got lost. Their map they gave me wasn't too good.
You know, if you don't make a turn, when you're coming into town, if you don't turn at the right street on, I forget the name of the street, you can be really out there, you know, you just keep going. Oh, I missed it. What, you know?
Yeah.
Because I know the place that I've done it. I missed it. I missed it all the time. And then I gotta go, oh God, I gotta turn back around.
I got back on the freeway. So I had to go
Yeah.
5 miles to get back off.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, you were coming from the west.
Well,
Like
I stayed at a hotel. So unfortunately, the
In town?
address that they gave me, you know, north versus south. Guess I typed it in wrong. I'm going the wrong direction.
It's Poseyville Road. You have to make if you're coming from the, let's see, going northwest. If you're coming from the east, you make a left turn on Poseyville Road. And if you're coming from the other way, so it's a right turn. And if you miss it and go to the next one, it takes you way out. It's funny.
Yeah. So, but it was all right. Like I said, I wasn't too worried.
I might have done it if I didn't have my two really nice gallery orders. God, I wish I just had wholesale and if I could do what I did in the month of May, every month from wholesale, I wouldn't go anywhere. It'd be great. I did drive the work to the places. You know, I took the work there. I took all the stuff out. They looked at it. You know, they always buy more when they look at it.
So why can't you do it every month?
It's called having enough. The whole market, the wholesale market's shot. It's not like the old days. There's maybe, I don't know, I can't give you a percentage, but it isn't maybe 10% of the galleries that existed in the 1990s, you know?
Mid 90s and a little after, I had 75 galleries that carried my work. Now, obviously not at the same time because I'm only one person.
Yeah.
But most of those galleries are no longer in business, and they were really good galleries.
None of mine. None of mine are in business from those days.
Yeah.
There might be one or two that lasted.
I just found my list in going through some papers
Really?
of galleries that I was in.
You know who I'd like to sell to again? And they always say, whenever I run into them, they say, hey, you should bring some work by in Akron. Who's in Akron, Ohio? Don Drum.
Oh, they bought from me wholesale. Yeah.
Yeah, for years and years. And I think they still exist. I think the kids run it, but
he still does
his large sculptures. That was fun.
Yep. Nice people.
Very nice. I did a one-person show there back in the day. Here's the thing, it used to be, I would do an art fair, every art fair, didn't matter where it was, there'd always be gallery owners that come by. When Ron, you were asking about where's, how come you don't do it now with galleries? Well, you almost didn't, you did the ACC show or Wendy Rosen, and you'd get X amount of, galleries. But then if at art fairs, there would always be two galleries that would come by and want to buy, and I'd have my price sheet and I go, oh yeah, I sell wholesale, and I'd write up an order. The two galleries I have now actually are in the Midwest, and I saw them in Florida, and it was the only two. But there's nobody that comes by. No galleries come by anymore at these art fairs to buy work. Because they don't exist. There's hardly any.
But in my experience, and maybe Larry, you could jump in on this too, and Oscar, I haven't heard two-dimensional artists talk about this kind of an experience over the last 20 years that I've been doing art shows. They don't come by and talk to the photographer. When they come by and they talk to you about their gallery, they're talking about you exhibiting in their gallery, or they're putting your pieces in, but on a commission basis, not on a wholesale purchase. Maybe I just don't know the right artists, but I know a lot of artists and they just don't have that experience.
Ron, 40 years ago, it was the same. when you did the ACC show, ACC was only 3D, was only high-end crafts. It wasn't, there wasn't 2D. And all the 2D people always had to consign, and we got to sell the way the system was set up, you know, and once that's the system, then everybody goes along with it. I mean, you guys could do the same thing, except you can't do the same thing.
You know, the thing is like what you see in galleries, or at least when I see in my client's house, no offense to anybody in the art shows, our work doesn't go to that.
Doesn't go to what you cut off.
Our work doesn't go to that level what people are buying, what they're buying in galleries. I don't see anybody in art shows doing that kind of work. It's a totally different market. And like at least for 2D, yes, some people have some, I know a couple of painters that do some gallery, but not to the level that it used to be. And the work that you see is really unique, really thoughtful, things that make you think, no commercial, what I consider commercial work.
Yeah.
It's like what you see in the art fairs is for the masses.
Yeah.
And for gallery is driven to a specific personnel, clientele, different thing. I can tell you that 100% sure. And there's some, you know, Jamali used to do art shows, and you know, Brito used to use art shows, and you know, that's how this all started. But it's different now, and it's also a lot of ego. Like you're not going to buy something from the art show and put in $1 million, $2 million house and tell your friends. And let me rephrase that: a person that have a $5 million house won't be putting $1,000 print in the living room. So, you know, that's the, you know, people that showcase it, they're showing cases like a photography pieces from Peter Lake. But you're talking a $10,000 photograph that I sell myself for $2,500. So
that's like the snobbery between shows.
Yeah.
Because I had people, I'm in Grand Rapids, I had people that would not buy from me in Grand Rapids, but they would buy from me if they saw me at Charlevoix, because they wanted to be able to say that they got it at Charlevoix, even though, you know, I lived right down the street from them or whatever.
Yeah.
It was the cachet of where they got it.
Yeah, it's an ego thing. It's not the quality of the work and most of the time, but you have to have something more unique. I can right now, I think that the only person that I think they can do from the photographers, they can do gallery work might be Henry Clifford and maybe James Cole. Everybody else is no, not even close. And Michael Cole and the guy from
James Parker.
No, Michael.
No, well, I think that's my country.
It's the guy that makes the frames, the antique frames, and put the photographs like a sepia tone. I keep forgetting his name.
Aaron?
No. It's Michael something. I forgot his last name.
Bryant?
He was nearby to you, Ron. Like a 2 booth after Mark. In 57. You know who I'm talking about?
I think so, but I'm drawing a blank on the name too.
Yeah, so it has to be something like that to be in the gallery.
Oh, Michael Chen out of New York.
No, Michael. Michael is about the same level than you and me. Even he is really, really good. Because his work is still commercial. If you want to know that's what I see it, you know. What you do, what I do, what Michael does, I will figure it out later on.
Michael Stipek?
No, I don't have the list in here. Well, guys, I need to go because I got to do a job in 5 minutes from now.
Go earn your money.
Good seeing you, Oscar.
Good to see ya.
Hey,
I see.
Oscar.
Bye, Oscar.
Later, Oscar.
Bye, Oscar.
You know, it kind of works the other way around too for painters. I've seen god awful painting selling for $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, and they're horrible, you know, at the art fair. And people, they don't know. I don't even think they're interested in the quality, and they wouldn't know good quality, which gives somebody who, you know, you just have to do it big enough and put the price on it, and people will buy it if it matches their decor. That's, you know, so it kind of works that, you know.
Yeah.
There's god awful paintings and high-end galleries selling for ridiculous amounts of money.
That's true too, you know.
So it's so subjective. But did I ever tell you the Chivas Regal story? Had a guy who worked for Seagram's at a marketing class. He said that they were selling Chivas Regal, the premium Scotch, at a and they weren't selling it. They were promoting it, and they were discounting it, and they weren't selling it. They raised the price, and suddenly it sold. That, you know, because they were competing with other brands that had higher prices, and there was a disconnect. People said, well, if it's this cheap, it's not premium.
That subjectivity, I think, has been part of art forever. That some people value what they see based on the price tag. So you could have a painter down the way selling a beautiful piece of work by a lot of people's standards for $500. 3 booths up could be a painter selling a piece for $3,000. And a lot of people will value the $3,000 as a better painting because of the price tag. It has nothing to do with reality or whether it is or isn't, but they value it that way. They will pay that price. And for us to ignore that is not a good idea. Which is why for me, when I see so many artists selling so cheap, I'm like, well, who's going to value your work more than you? And if you don't value it, how do you expect customers to value it?
Potters are the worst.
It's not a simple concept, but it is a real concept.
Absolutely.
Like your Chevys, is the same.
I used to tell artists, you know, at a show, I think you ought to raise your prices because it's worth it, and the quality is there, and some of them took my advice and did just fine.
Potters are the worst. Potters are the worst.
No.
They give the work away.
Well,
yes,
that they often do. Yeah, though I know a photographer that I ran into years ago. He hadn't raised his prices in 15 years. And I asked him the question, well, then are you not building a speed bump, if nothing else, that you're building a speed bump to let people know, well, we don't have to buy it now because it's not going to change price next year or 2 years from now or 3 years from now. And he paused and he said, I'll have to think about that. Next time I saw him about 8 months later, he came over and thanked me for just for saying that. He raised his prices and he hadn't seen one bit of reluctance to pay the higher prices. And now he said he's going to start raising them every year.
Yeah, I raise my prices and I'm selling more.
Yeah.
I even thought the galleries, you know, these 2 galleries. So every year I raise it. I've been raising it a little. So I was wondering, you know, if this year, if they would say something, nobody said anything. They didn't care, you know.
I used to agonize over price changes, about having to raise my prices. And you raise them and nobody even blinks. You know, the only one that it was traumatizing to was me.
Yeah.
And Ron, that was very good advice that you gave.
Thank you. And it's really hard now because with all the problems with our costs going up, with fuel just to get to the art shows, with all the expenses of every piece of material potentially that we buy going up in cost, we have built in now the best reason to raise our costs. And like you said, if nobody is balking at that and every other company out there is doing that, not to mention the gas companies, why would people balk at us? Are we that low down on the totem pole that they don't think, well, it shouldn't affect us. No, it does affect us. I mean, I have hardly any piece of equipment or material that I'm using that hasn't gone up in price. Probably at the least 10% to 12%, some
That's-
up to 20%.
Gee, I wish my costs only went up 20%.
Well, yeah,
My propane to fire pots is doubled from last year, doubled,
that's right.
you know. Gas prices 40%
Yeah.
over last year. All my material, I had to look twice, you know. I bought, you know, I ordered materials, you know, copper carbonate and stuff like that. And I didn't really, you know, I just said, well, you know, put it on my credit card. And I didn't even, you know what? I didn't even look at the sales slip. You know, eventually, like a week later, I went, well, I wonder what I paid for that. I looked at it, oh my God, look what I'm paying for this stuff, you know. But you know, you have to do it. So I think every day, well, how much do I need to raise my prices to just cover the increase?
Right. And all the people that sell their stuff and they provide free shipping, I don't know how they're going to do that because shipping costs have skyrocketed with both FedEx, UPS, pretty much everybody. Costs are going up. So if somebody wants to order something from, say, an art show, or they want you to send them something, you can't do it cheaply anymore.
They don't want to pay for the shipping. Nonsense.
Yeah, but if we're not raising our prices, then it would just eat into our profit all that much more and substantiate the rumor that we're starving artists. Yeah, because we would be starving artists. We have to be real, as merciful as we can, because nobody likes to shock their customers. But it's part of the landscape that we're dealing with now is prices going up. Just has to be part of the thought process, at least. If not,
well, you know, it's not like you're selling bacon or soap. What you're selling, people may buy a lot of or a little of, but each one is a unique one of a kind purchase for them. I mean, it's not a recurring thing, so it's in a different mental category entirely.
Does anyone use Pirate for their shipping?
I've not even heard of them.
Pirate
Oh.
ship. Pirate ship.
Pirate ship?
Yeah,
Sorry.
pirateship.com. Pirate.com is a music show thing.
So close.
Okay, pirate ship.
So,
Yeah, and Pirates Bay is
sorry.
the place where you download torrents.
Yeah, Larry, but it's, you know, you go one week and then you go back the next week and it's moved because they got kicked off their server. So it's really hard to find the Pirate Bay sites now, at least for me.
Yeah, you have to be running a VPN.
I do run a VPN.
It's always there for me.
So what were we going to say about pirate?
Okay, pirate ship.
Ship.
It's funny.
You can save a lot of money using them for your shipping.
How
I
did they
don't-
pick up your pieces? You call them?
No, they use all the services, but they will give you a price comparison.
So they get a discount from all these other carriers and they will pass that on to you.
And actually, it's even cheaper if you can print your own labels.
Yeah, it's all my friends that do a lot of shipping use pirate ship.
Pirate ship. Thank you. Good tip.
Thank you.
Yeah. Because that is for me, that's a big issue. And for a lot of us, you can't carry all the inventory that somebody's going to want to order. It's going to be other pieces, other sizes. You know, if they want multiple pieces and you only have 2 of the 3 that they want, whatever. Yeah, there's a lot of reason to ship. And I've just been stunned at what the costs are and how inefficient they are too. I mean, my experience with FedEx, they aren't delivering anything on time anymore, but you're paying for it. And we communicate with our customers and say, oh, well, we ship FedEx, it should only take 2 days. And they get the same emails that I get because I put them in as their emails in, so they get all the updates. I've had one piece out of like 7 or 8 that was delivered on time. And I talked to a manager at, it was at Bay Photo, I think, that said, even if they ship overnight, it's taken 4 days, but you're paying for overnight.
I won't use FedEx anymore. They're not reliable.
But the experience back here is UPS is, like Larson Jewel used to use UPS, and they gave up UPS because they had so many problems coming through the Indianapolis hub with damage to the packages, delays on the packages, lost packages. They finally said, screw it, we're going to FedEx. But FedEx, I agree with you, Barry. FedEx is no longer the reliable source they were. Is UPS?
Well, I went
No.
back to UPS.
But is that the question is, are they better than FedEx, or are they both equally bad?
I think they handle the work better.
Well, it's interesting because I bought a piece at a gallery, a clay piece, and I wanted it shipped to me. And I said to the gallery owner, who I really like, that she could just take it to a UPS store. Because, I mean, from Traverse City, Michigan to Grand Rapids, Michigan is, I don't know, 100 miles, maybe a little more. So how much could it cost? Now, the piece was heavy, but it was $120 to ship it those few miles.
Yeah, but shippers, my experience, at least with FedEx, they don't charge by weight. They charge by the dimensions of the package.
Right,
volume,
dimensional
right?
shipping.
So was it that package that they charged $120 for? Was it a fairly big package?
Not that big.
Wow.
They don't charge by the distance as much as they charge. It has to go through a hub somewhere and come back. It doesn't go directly from one city to the next.
They broke it too. So
Oh,
that pisses me off.
oh.
too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So Bonnie, I drove from Marquette to Sutton's Bay to deliver the pieces in person to the gallery in person, because the shipping was going to be outrageous. But I also figured that if I drove it there, they would buy more work than they wanted, which they did. So
Always
it kind of made
happens
up
that
for
way.
it. But I wonder why you didn't just drive it from Grand Rapids to it's a nice drive. You just go up the coast, straight shot.
It's a lovely drive, and
Yeah.
normally I would, except that my head had blown and there was no
Oh.
driving or leaving the house for me.
And are you doing Sutton's Bay?
No,
Yeah.
we might come up and see it.
I might go up there and just hang out at the gallery. And we talked about setting up a thing in front of the gallery because it's right. You know which one it is. It's the one with all the gaudy. They got these 8-foot glass things. I
Yes,
was like, I didn't know what to expect, but I went there and I went, oh my God, this is where I'm bringing my work. But they do $1.5 million worth of business, and it's a short season, so it's got to be good.
I would set something up in front.
Yeah. Then I was thinking maybe I could sneak into the dinner, the lunch or whatever, what they have, and and all the festivities, and maybe get to the party, get invited to the party up the
There you
street.
go.
I forget who is that again? Who lives in Sutton's Bay that has the party?
Prestigian,
Yeah, right.
he
Yeah,
lives close by. That's
Yeah.
who we always stayed with.
yeah. And there's always a good party there too.
Yes. If you end up doing that, you might check with him and see if they've got another bed.
Yeah, I could do that.
You can tell him I suggested it. Get you.
I don't know if I'm going to do
Yeah.
that, but and hey, the people that own the gallery have a B&B there too. So I think I might ask them, but I don't know if I'm going to make it because I don't know if I'll have enough work. It's after it's in August, first week in August, and I do a bunch of things, and I'm actually going to Economawalk the weekend after. I've never done it before, and I've never been there. It's Wisconsin, which is not my favorite place in the world, but I don't know. I just signed up for it. I thought, oh, I'm going to try this.
Years and years ago, I always wanted to do it. There was
Yeah,
just,
I know.
I heard nothing but but good things.
Well, we'll find
I don't
out.
know if that's the case anymore, but
Yeah.
it
I
always
don't even know if
sounded
I'll have enough work. It takes time for me to make my work. And,
get off this Zoom and get to work.
I could have done that. I could have not, so I said, I'll work afterwards. I have to finish these pots that I'm working on. But
Good.
we have to stop talking about Oscar because he's back now.
Oh, geez, yeah, okay.
So I gotta, in the following in the footsteps of Barry, I'm bringing up something that hopefully not too controversial, but could be. How do you, all the artists here, feel about shows giving out show awards to artists versus taking that money and putting it into artist patron bucks or however you want to call it out in the
For
public,
sure.
part of their promotion? Which do we as art, I mean, it's multifaceted, which do we as artists have a better chance to win or make some of that money back? Take shows like Gasparilla as an example, how much money they have in patron purchase awards versus they also do have a lot in awards, but if they put all that into patron purchase awards and you had $150,000 floating out there in the hands of the public, would that not be a huge incentive to go to an art show versus the subjectivity of judges coming around deciding who wins an award? Plus, if you win an award and you didn't have good sales, are you going to come back? Does that matter that you won the award or that you got a free booth next year if the sales weren't there because it wasn't your market? How do you guys feel about that on all these different points?
I just want a little side note.
Yeah.
Nobody would apply to Gasparilla because most of the people apply for the big awards.
Exactly. They're not interested in selling their work. They're interested in winning an award.
Right.
You're absolutely right. And how does the show think that that's okay if the show is
Okay.
buying artists public?
I'd rather have patron awards. Just, okay, Barry.
Well, Gasparilla is different because Gasparilla had an endowment from somebody, set up a foundation for those awards. Those awards are not going away because they're paid for. They don't have to go out and get sponsors to pay for that is set up for from here to eternity. And the person that did it specifically to attract people to come for the awards. So that's not one you could talk about because it's not like any other show because that money has been given.
No, but you can talk about the other half of it that is in patron awards that is out in the hands of the public. $75,000 beats almost every show in the country in terms of money that we as artists can actually go get.
Okay.
Access to.
All right. Now, in the second part of your question, Gasparilla is what I love awards, except that I can't stand the incompetence of the jury, the people that are passing out the awards. And listen, Gasparilla was no different. In fact, Gasparilla was the worst ever because that person didn't go into anybody's booth. That it was pre-done. It was predetermined.
Okay, so are you saying then that you support putting the money into patron purchase bucks rather than into awards because there are no good jurors that know what they're looking at?
Well, there used to be.
Be careful.
No, there used to be. And no, I still want awards.
What used to be? Used to be. I'm sorry.
It
I think
used
the history of art has argued about the whole concept that you, I think, and others have brought up. What constitutes an assessment of what work is good or not good? Is that anything that an individual judge or juror can make?
Gasparilla used to bring in museum curators that would come in and do the jury. It seemed like, it seemed like every show they can't afford to do that, but they would have jurors that knew what they were looking at. Now, I don't remember what show it was, but the judge came into my booth. She's supposed to be the clay juror. She comes in my booth and asks me what it is. What is this? And instead of just smiling and saying something, I said, wait a minute, you're jurying the clay and you have no idea what you're looking at. Where did they get you? I didn't care. I mean, no, somebody's got to say something. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Going back to the original question, then what are you actually saying? That you think that keeping the jurors around as is can't change that? It's not going to change very much.
I like the system. I don't like who they choose to pick for jurors.
So you like giving out artist awards
because it used to be
versus-
different.
So you like giving out artist awards, is your opinion?
Yes, I do.
Versus giving out patron money to come buy art with.
Well, I'm a gamer. I like winning games. It's just a
See,
game.
I would like to see them do a jury on the people who attend the show versus the juries.
Oh no, that's even that
Oh,
I
but
don't
that's,
like.
but that's what the people are doing. That's what the people come. Because I know there's one show, Muskegon does do that.
They do what
the,
again?
they let the people choose.
Oh,
You vote
People's
with your
Choice Award?
phone. You click
know-
on a button, but that's the new kids. You have to realize the new generation, that's what they're into. And that's bringing new.
Sound-
They don't know
in.
anything. Come
No,
on.
it sounds like the new generation doesn't want to take responsibility.
They don't know anything anyway.
Are you talking a People's
Really?
Choice Award, like one award?
Yeah.
with a
It's
lot of
just
shows
one
do that?
award. It's not money. It's just the people, they call
Oh,
the People's
okay,
Choice.
People's
Okay.
Choice Award.
People's
right.
Choice.
I don't
That's
want to
not-
win an award that doesn't pay money. Don't give it to me if it doesn't include money.
But
'Cause you-
see, what I don't
It's just a
understand.
nice thing to let people know that, hey, the people choose you.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, some shows have an Artist's Choice Award.
Yeah.
You know-
see?
Yeah.
one of the kind of the jokes or kind of the like what was said if you won an award at Coconut Grove in the old days is like, that's winning an award is a kiss of death. Nobody will buy your work after you win the award for some reason. And so that was kind of like a tongue-in-cheek thing that people said, and there was some truth to that. There's some truth to that. It isn't
Oh, I
like,
agree.
oh, I won the award, so people are going to stream into my booth and buy
Yeah.
stuff. It doesn't work like
No,
that.
it doesn't.
So, and
Okay,
Well,
I
folks,
need to tell you something that has bugged me for a lot of years.
oh, I love this.
I won Best in Show at Ann Arbor one year,
Yeah.
not a penny. Nothing. I
Okay.
got a ribbon.
They changed that.
And then
You know
you
why
invite
they
back.
You know why they changed it? Because in fact, it was funny because, they take your picture. So I had the picture with the award. Okay. What I wanted. And people were going, why do you don't look happy to win that award? And I said, because there was no money attached to it. And I complained about it. And they actually begrudgingly actually gave out some money the year after, starting the year after.
Excellent.
So that's why they, because you got to speak up. I mean, you got to say something. The idea that you're going to get blackballed for speaking up is ridiculous. And if that's the case, it's not worth doing that show anyway.
But if you won the award and your sales weren't that good, would you come back just because you won the award?
No.
Okay. So what's the value of the award to anybody except us? What does the show derive as a benefit from the fact that they give an award to an artist, but the artist may not come back because their sales?
Promotion.
It
What?
looks good on your
Promotion.
resume. It's an ego
How is it
stroke.
good for promotion? Because next year that artist that won the award isn't gonna, if he's not there or she's not there, what does that do for the show? That person doesn't come back.
It's a line
Negative
on your
promotion.
resume.
Okay, I like the patron. Oh,
I like that too,
patron bucks.
but that's a separate thing. I like that too.
No, that was his original question.
I know.
Thank you, Bonnie.
But
Thank
it
you.
shouldn't be, well, it shouldn't be one
Dirk
or
is
the
changing, get
other.
him back in line like dog is running away. Get back.
It shouldn't be
I've
one
known
or the
Barry a
other.
long time.
It shouldn't be one or the
hey,
other.
all, I'm going so long. You keep
Frank,
arguing.
goodbye.
See you, Frank.
Bye,
Bye,
Frank.
Frank.
Hey, Ron, it shouldn't be one or the other. They're two
Why not?
separate things.
No, why not? Because to me, the reason I asked that kind of a question, if that's all patron purchase bucks, I have an opportunity to win every penny of it or any penny of it.
Yeah.
If it's an award, I have most cases, even though I win awards at shows, it's so subjective. It's like jurying into the show. When you don't get juried back into the show, when you did really, really well, you tell me that you're not a little bit peeved off, that the jurors didn't know and you may describe it as they didn't know what they were looking at, but that doesn't matter. The reality is they didn't jury you back into the show. The public said, we love your work. You don't get back into the show. So if they gave it as patron bucks, it allows people to come participate in the event, they can buy a piece of art they weren't planning on buying, and maybe they weren't even going to come to the show. Maybe buy a bigger piece because they got this free money. Maybe buy 2 pieces instead of 1. And I think that binds them far more than walking by some artist booth and going, oh, they won first place in ceramic. Who cares? They don't care. What they care about is buying art. You think they're gonna remember you, that any of us, that we won an award? No. And like Larry's point, yeah, if it's for promotion and we're back in the show next year, if that means something to somebody, that they come back. But I think money in the hands of the people to buy art is a powerful, powerful thing for a show, to have people buying to the show.
Well, my
at
best
my
show
little
ever.
show-
Yeah.
My turn?
Well, go ahead,
At-
Bonnie.
At my little show, we give away money at the show. And
Yeah.
we give
People-
away, like this
People are,
coming year will be our 25th year. So at 25 minutes after the hour, we will do a drawing for $25. And it can only be spent at the show. It can with one of us, and they can't get any change or anything like that. It has been hugely successful.
nicely
And
done.
we do it every hour. you know,
Because the money
And
means
it's not the
nothing.
amount. It's like, it's because when we started it, it was $11 and people were thrilled. It's free money. They can
Right.
go buy something that they might not have, even if all they're getting is $11.
Exactly. Or they might buy something for their children, or they might let their children buy something. All
Yes,
of those things are positives for the show, to say it excites the people for, like you're saying, Bonnie, however much money it is isn't the issue. It's that it's free money, for it has no value to them if they leave the show and don't spend it.
right.
Show gets to keep it if they don't spend it. But otherwise, it involves them in the whole purpose of the art show, which is meeting the artist, buying the artwork, finding something of value to them, oftentimes which they couldn't envision finding, but they did find. And now they got some extra money to spend on it. I think that's
And-
awesome what you do.
In order for the artists to get the money, they have to bring us, of course, the Bonnie Bucks.
Exactly. Right.
And we always get every single one back.
Awesome.
Bonnie
And the
Buck?
artists
I love
artists appreciated it, I would take it. I would assume.
Yeah, they get a kick out of it. What, Barry?
Bonnie Bucks. I thought it was funny. didn't-
Bonnie Bucks.
The Bonnie Bucks. Great. That's great. Call it that. There's a certain humorous aspect to your show.
Yes,
You know,
Yeah.
it's a kind of a
it's
love
not
affair.
serious.
It's like a love-in with the artists and the patrons. You
Yeah.
know, it's a little party. It's a,
And that's what we want. You know, we have enough serious, we have rules. You can't tape on the walls. That comes from the expo center. And don't park in the fire lane or you'll be towed. Other than that, artists pretty much know what they're doing. So we let it be. Well,
What?
that was a buzzkill.
No,
Right,
no,
guys,
it
I'm
wasn't.
gonna let you guys go. I'm gonna head out.
I think
Hi,
saying
Shirley.
artists know
Hi,
what they're
Shirley.
doing was the kiss of death.
What now?
No, it's
Artists-
true though.
Artists know what they're doing was the kiss of death.
It's true.
No, because these people, everybody does what they're supposed to.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
You know,
of
I'm
course.
so proud of them.
These shows that micromanage with setting up times to get in and all that, it's ridiculous. It's
Yeah.
like it takes 3 times as long as if they just let us do it.
We know how to do it.
Yeah.
Well,
You know?
we know how to do it, but I have to say that I have seen more than enough examples of artists that are so myopic and so self-centered and so what's in this for me, that I've seen them block up traffic during breakdown and they'll say,
Yep.
oh, just take me a few more minutes. And they pull their trailer and their vehicle in and they're blocking everybody from even getting to their booth. And it's ridiculous. Time after time, I know it's a small percentage of the artists, but they can screw things up big time for everybody else.
agree.
And I think
Yeah.
I wish shows would take a blacklist and say, you're not that welcome back in our show ever again. Don't even bother to apply, because there's lots of other people that will take your place that will play well in the sandbox with all the
Yeah.
other artists, right?
Yeah, Ron.
I
Don't
have
you love
no
it?
problem. I have no problem telling someone that.
Good, good.
Don't you
And I
love
was-
it when somebody has a truck and they're pulling a trailer and they pull in and they take up four booths worth of stuff and
Yeah.
they act like, what? Who, me? You know?
And it's not always newbies or hobbyists or part-time.
No.
Sometimes it's professional artists that know far, 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 far better. And they just, it's all about them. It's just all about them. And it's not this world that we go through in the art world. We're supposed to kind of be attentive as much as possible to the needs of other artists. It's a lot easier if you do.
Penrod one year, just a few years ago, somebody with a trailer, a big truck and a big trailer and one of those fold down back doors,
Yeah.
which probably went out,
Yeah.
6, 8 feet. They said, do not pull in until you're all broken down. And he pulled in right at the very, when the show ended. And he pulled behind his booth. And I think we decided he took up about 4 booth spaces.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
And well, I don't take down quickly. I'm
Meaning-
slow. And I was in the car leaving before he had a single thing in that trailer.
Yeah, that's
Can you say I
obnoxious.
was pissed? I wish I knew who it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, show directors need to share this information. They need to be there, taking names, taking,
You bet.
yeah. Because there's
I
more
would've-
than enough good artists that didn't get juried in that given year that will take their place next year and will not do that crap.
I
And-
would have turned him in had I known his name. And frankly, at the end of the show, I was just wiped and get me out of there. I'd had
Yeah,
enough.
Yeah.
exactly.
And if bad weather was coming in and you're stuck and broken down in a pile and you can't get your vehicle in to get your stuff out of the bad
Oh.
weather, that would be a little bit worse, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are many times when the weather is good and I look around and I think, boy, if it rained even just like the night before, this would be this would be a horrible place to be. And we just luck out because the weather actually ends up being good.
Yeah.
You
Well, there
know?
was one year at State Street where it's kind of a grievance I have against State Street for that one year.
Yeah.
Remember, it was several years ago where there were 2 big storms coming in and they split on Sunday
Yeah.
night as they came to Ann Arbor. But the
Yeah.
wind shear from the one to the north was incredible. And nobody from the show came around to say, hey, everybody, because we told you to put everything into a pile to break everything down. FYI, there's this big, strong storm wind coming and it's going to blow your stuff all around. Painter across from me had 6 paintings destroyed because they were in a pile. Booths, people that were breaking their booths down had their booths flipped over and damaged. There was damage all over the place. And if the show had come around in their carts and said, hey, hold off on your breakdown, tighten up, yeah, it would have been really, really nice. And a lot of artists would have walked away feeling a whole lot better after that show. As it was, a lot of them pretty badly pissed off. And yeah, Painter losing 6 originals. Pardon?
I hate that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
bad
You
show
know.
management, bad show management.
Yes.
They don't exist anymore, do they?
What, bad
State
shows?
Street?
The State Street show doesn't exist anymore.
Yes, it does.
Sure it does.
I thought,
As an entity, didn't they go away and the guild now run?
No, that's Southview.
yeah, South
Oh.
University.
Oh,
Yeah, the guild took over Southview, which
oh, I see.
can only be a plus.
Yeah,
Well, I still do Main Street, which is kind of it's a challenge because there's so much crap over there, but there's enough good people that have moved over from the good sections over to us that it's not that bad.
You're known for good sales on Main Street.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I
I kept trying to decide if I wanted to try Main Street, but I had a killer location on State in the guild. And I just didn't want to give it up.
Yeah.
Right in front of Angel Hall.
Oh, yeah. So you're right
bathrooms
by Joe Cyberski and Jan And
Well,
all-
they were down from me.
Yeah, but
but
it's
yeah.
still that street over there.
Yes.
I think about it because that's the fun, that's a fun street. Those are fun people, but I just kind of like where I am,
Everybody, I gotta go. It was a pleasure. Thank you. For
Oh my
letting me ask some
goodness,
questions.
it's
Thanks for
late.
Good
Yeah,
ideas.
how time
Larry?
flies when you're having fun.
That's right.
I
Bye.
had
everybody.
fun.
Good seeing you,
Yeah,
Ron.
you too.
Okay, take care, everyone.
All right,
Okay.
I guess we're leaving.
I guess so.
See ya.
Next
All
week.
right, see you next week.
Bye, Katie.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Barry.
Bye.
Bye, Bonnie. She's gone. Bye, Barry.
Bye. Leave. Okay, leave.